masks and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't. Of course, then I'm on morphine and oxycodone too. So
Wow.
so just a total weird experience.
All right. And it'll pick up. Find out.
We'll find out.
All right.
What's this one?
That's for the radio show.
That we're doing now? The radio show?
I'm not recording just yet. So we're live on Facebook right now. So we'll,
How many listeners we got? 1 million?
no. Wow.
Oh, we're on.
Yeah, right now we're 3.
Oh, so I was going to show you.
What's this?
We're on. Like we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Was it lagged a little bit?
Huh?
Does it lag a little bit?
It does like a little bit. You can see I'm missing that. All right, so I'll just do this and pass it to you. Okay. So, are you showing me something now, or what is this?
This is all the radio shows
Pentecostal.
we've done.
Oh,
since we
wow.
started up through.
When'd you get
January
this?
Year. Bill gave it to me.
176. Numerology, huh? Wow.
There might be some subjects in there you might want to go back and
Redo?
redo because you changed your mind.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Okay. All right. Let's okay, so what we're gonna do is we'll announce the show. I'll introduce myself, introduce him, then I'll introduce you, and we'll kind of give the topic, and then we just talk. Okay. So we'll ask you questions and so forth, and you have to skip a little bit, Ron, I think,
Why?
because this mic's supposed to pick you up.
Oh,
Are you ready?
yeah, I've always been ready.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon, depending on which day it is. 'Cause Fridays
correct.
we're at 2 o'clock. I'm Gordon Walsh,
I'm Ron Olmberg,
and you're listening to.
looking for the evidence.
All right, and today we have our guest, Kobe.
Hello.
All right, so and Kobe's my son, so he's he's on a scale from 1 to 10, as we stated, is where does he fall within the understanding and believing in Christ and stuff. He says he was a 4, and we were going to do a show with someone else before about why, in particular your age group, right? What is it about Christianity that you find non-appealing, that why you don't go to church, all these types of things. So we'll ask some questions, Ron asks questions. I'll pass this back and forth as we do this, and then you just answer them as we go. All right? I'll be nice to you. I'm your dad, so I don't know about Ron. So he's a pretty mean guy. So anyway, so I guess you today when we asked, because I've just never really asked you, I mean, when I asked on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being your full-on, Jesus freak, I guess, and then 1 obviously nothing at all. You gave yourself a 4. With that 4, what does that mean? I guess.
I don't know. Just a quick answer. I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into it. But I guess like right now at this time, I can't say for sure, but I feel like in this world, in this universe, there's I don't believe out here, and I don't know if there's a higher power or a God or something going on beyond our control or beyond us and be above us. But I'm not completely closed off to the idea of there being a God. I think I'm just somewhere in my life where, in the past, we went to church together growing up, and I would have said I'm a Christian, growing up, and then even in part of college. But I realized that I was just blindly, following what I was being told without really looking into it. And now I think I'm at a point in my life where, I don't want to just blindly follow something just because someone says this is the way. I'm at a point where I want to think for myself. And
Well, you left out the rest of the verse. This is the way, the truth, and the life.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm just at a point in my life where I want to discover and figure out things for myself and think for myself. And if I'm going to dedicate my life to something, I want to be 100% sure and not just halfway do it.
You can't just sit there and be quiet the whole time, It's against the rules.
Why? You always yell at me when I talk.
So-
Now I start
my dad.
talking, and you're trying to monopolize the radio show.
Huh? Yeah, so, okay, then, I guess then, right now, I guess you'd say you're agnostic? Do you know what that means?
No.
Means you believe in a higher power. This is the way I understand it. Gnostic runs, he's a little bit more smarter than I am. He went to Northwest College, so
Back in the day.
yeah. So, but no, we were we graduated from the same seminary, and but as Gnostic means you just not necessarily don't know what that is.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe not even like a higher power. Maybe like, I guess I'm just in search of like what I believe, and I guess quote unquote the truth of what's happening, and then who knows? Maybe I'll find out that we just go in the dirt and that's the end.
Your worm food, man.
Worm food.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I guess I'm just on that journey right now.
That's what I thought when I was in Special Forces. You're just worm food,
Yeah. So I wouldn't say like I'm 100% in on something. I'm just kind of open to all ideas and have an open mind.
Yeah. You're not gonna sit quiet the whole show. It's just wrong. You have no questions.
Not yet, no.
Not yet. No. Nothing that's curious. What would you ask your son?
I don't know.
Because he's relatively in the same boat.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, probably my two oldest are. Oh yeah.
Huh?
Probably my two oldest are.
Yeah. What would you ask?
I don't.
You have no idea. I guess it is true, because I mean, my importance is to always be there, have a relationship with you, despite our differences, and sometimes I think our biggest difference is if we start talking about politics, but that seems like the way it is, man. I mean, I talk about that in the church, I remember when I came into ministry, one of the things that people warned me against, oh, you're going to be a pastor, people are going to, be mean to me, and I've never had anybody that I can think of that's been mean to me because I'm a pastor.
You had people shoot at you, so being mean to you
Well,
is a little bit different level.
Okay,
than
I had
who's-
one guy,
who's
but
never been in those kinds of, intense situations.
Okay. The only ones that have been mean to me are other Christians. I had one guy that I thought I was going to have to get in a fist fight with. Literally, I really thought that I was going to have to be defending myself. Had someone curse out Teresa for over an hour, and then had another guy curse Teresa and I both out, him and his wife, before service started one Sunday morning. But never by non-Christian. You want to say you're Republican or Democrat or vice versa.
Right.
Yeah, there can be definitely arguments there. People are very overly passionate, I think, on that one. So,
Right.
But okay, so your line of career, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself? Tell everybody what you do. You live in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
So you love the what's that ice cream that you introduced Teresa to?
Oh, was it frozen yogurt? Not frozen yogurt, frozen custard.
Yeah, custard. So, but
Yeah.
no, but you work at Park City.
Uh-huh.
Your degree's in outdoor recreation.
That's stinking cool. What was my career counselor when I was in school? Right?
So,
Nobody told me about that.
last year he was a guy. Would you climb Mount Rainier 13 times? You said.
No, I mean I did it like I don't know how many countless times on the mountain, but summited with clients 8 times.
8 times.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he was a guide last year. So.
Man, I miss my calling.
And Park City's the. So will you tell about it?
Yeah, well, you like to talk.
Well, I know. You go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I graduated school at Eastern Washington University. Was living in Spokane at the time. Grew up in Spokane. I love Spokane. I was just looking for new scenery, somewhere new. So I heard Salt Lake City had good skiing, and I didn't really know anything else than that. I was like, well, I'll go to Salt Lake. I applied for some jobs, got hired at Park City Mountain Resort as a ski patroller. So I moved there, and then quickly found out that Salt Lake City is like a hub for everything outdoors, and fell in love with the city. And then, so in the past I would patrol in the winters, and then in the summer I would do some form of guiding. I've done all kinds of guiding, flat water, whitewater guiding, rock climbing, and then just most recently mountain guiding on Rainier. And obviously this summer's been a little weird, and this is the first summer I think in 8 years or so I haven't guided.
Thought about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and that's that's usually what I do for work. Usually play outside and
That's
work
beautiful.
outside. Yeah.
That
And if
would be
you're-
my dream job when I was a
Right.
kid. That would have
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
For
a lot
all
of
the
fun.
ladies out there listening, he is single, so. This isn't a dating show, though. Anyway, so you know, and I would say your demographics that you hang out with then, you know, are all probably similar to you in the sense of activity-wise. You know, you
Definitely.
hang out with outdoorsy people, you know.
Uh-huh.
So what is it then that you would say, give, you know, well, I'd say, oh, number one, two, three, but, you know, what are some things that turn you off about being a Christ follower of Christianity?
Um, I think at least this point in my life, I think a lot of it has to do. I don't think it really has to do with anything outdoors. I think right now I'm in the point where like I enjoy thinking for myself, and I enjoy like you know, having my own opinions and not having it dictated by my religion or you know the culture or the group that I'm hanging around with. You know, I mean, you know, you I'll ask you a question. You're like, well, you know, I have my own opinions, but because of being a Christian, you know, I thought my thoughts on this is this, or I can't allow this because
Right.
of my religion, and I don't like that line of thinking of a religion or somebody else doing the thinking for me. I'd rather you know ponder on it and think about it and do my own research and then have my own opinion on it instead of being told what to think.
Okay. You're still quiet.
Just
Not helping out this interview at all. I thought you'd be participating here, you'd helping me out, you know, the 27-minute
I'm waiting
show.
to hear more
Yeah.
from him.
You're not
know.
going to hurt my feelings. My feelings have been hurt.
That's,
They won't be hurt.
So, okay, I guess my question, when I was referring to your friends of being outdoor, I was just saying, you know, I would assume that a lot of your friends would have similar moral structures, moral beliefs,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So that wasn't my question about who you are and what your activities are, but like, what are, you know, you did name one of them. One of the things that you feel is like, when we talk and we ask questions like, let's say, you know, hey, what do you think about drinking alcohol, okay? We've actually never really had that conversation too much in that sense. And I say, well, I don't believe that you should be drunk because, you know, it goes against the scriptures, right? And then you look at it more as, oh, I'm being dictated by a book and so therefore I must follow these set of rules, right? And I'm not, you know, I'm not able to make up my own mind because I have a structure that I follow, right? So, and you kind of feel like, no, I want to be able to make up my own mind. So what you're saying is because you're as a Christian, or maybe any belief, I suppose you probably agree with that, that we are dictated on our moral structure based on a set of rules then.
To a point, I mean, obviously not to an extreme by any means. Like
Yeah.
you're your own person, and everyone else is their own person. But, yeah, and I think I'm sure I'm influenced by, the people I'm around and the environment and being in the outdoor industry. I'm sure that I'm influenced by that probably quite a bit because it's what I see. Just like how, people who, are Christians or maybe into sports or whatever, they're who they are and what they think is going to be dictated by their culture and the people they spend their time around.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everything's really dictated by your subculture that you're in, you know, I mean.
Exactly.
You've got the American culture, then you've got regional cultures, and it breaks all the way down to, you know, who you are and what you hang out with. But, okay, so my question towards you then really was, what are some things that you would disagree with? So you're saying, I disagree. I mean, I know one of the things that we've talked about in the past is homosexuality, right? So you believe that everybody has the right to choose their sexuality, and based on that, that should not be a subscription that they get to go to hell or they're damned to hell, right? Because for me, and I know Ron, I mean, I've known Ron for a long time. We've done a radio show for a long time, as he sits over there quietly. I don't even know why I gave you a microphone, man. So, you know, if someone's a homosexual, I don't, it doesn't bother me, none. It doesn't in the sense of I don't care. Now, obviously, if they push it up on me, anything that someone pushes up on you, I think anybody's going to push back. But if you ask me what is God's view of it, I say this is his view of it, and then you ask why, you would do your best to explain that why. But most of the time, people have already set their mind up on those, and they stand hard. And you know, if it gets into a debate, they're going to just push harder. You know what I mean? So, but you know, that was kind of my question. Or what are some things that you would say I disagree with this, and that the stance on the scriptures, and because of that, they go to hell?
Yeah.
You know, so what we're, you know, homosexuality being one of them.
Yeah, homosexuality, I think, is definitely one. And I think, you know, I don't think it's that much of a, like you just said, as a choice. I think, yeah, like they have the choice to come out and, you know, tell people about it. But I know we talked about it, you know, probably countless times about, I believe that, you know, that it's more something that they're born with, and they're born that way. And that's, I think it's completely fine. And I think it's pretty harsh and kind of brutal to exclude someone because, you know, the way they were born, the way they feel, just because, you know, they are attracted to someone of the opposite sex. I think, you know, especially with a lot of religions, a lot of it's based in love and kindness, and, you know, love is love, and I believe that, like, if someone happens to love someone of the opposite or the same sex, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see why they should be excluded or damned for, you know, eternity into hell and, like, suffering because of who they love. And I don't think, you know, I don't believe that they should be punished for it by any means.
And I think a lot of Americans agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, you're still going to sit there silently.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. I want you to participate. You're look at that.
gotta
People are
skirt me
talking
for the
bad
fun.
about you. They're usually that's what we saying. Always looking. What are they saying? You know? Okay, so really, when you're looking at it, you're saying that because God's love, right, and because He's love, that we should be able to live a certain particular way because this is the way you're born or you feel, right?
Yeah.
So what about the person that's overly aggressive, that's violent, and they really can't control that emotion? Is that okay?
I mean, I think if they refuse to, like, work on it and, like, you know, like, I think it's a little different because it's harmful to other people.
Okay. Then,
Being homosexual is not harmful to other
okay,
people.
that's fair. What about the person that's committed in a relationship, but because they can't just stop themselves from having extramarital affairs?
That's also hurts. I mean, it's hurting their partners. So I mean,
Okay, all right. So and so if their partners are okay with it, then that's okay.
yeah, if they're both okay with that, I think that's fine.
Okay. So what about the science that's been out there that, and I don't want to just stick on homosexuality. So I'll ask this last question. We'll move on to something else. Okay. Is that fair enough? What about the science that's been out there, and it's been proven science that the homosexual community not now, it was the highest suicide rate. Now transgender side is the highest suicide rate, but that community has the highest suicide rate. They have the highest STD rate. They have the highest infidelity rate. They have the highest extra relational or marital failures now since the marriage is than any other segment. So I would say that lifestyle does lead to harm.
Yeah, self-harm, and I guess inside that community. Yeah, I mean, I think and I'm not, you know, highly educated on any of this stuff, so this is all about, you know, how I feel and what I personally think in my opinion. But I think with, like, being the highest suicide rate, I think it has to do a lot of, like, external factors as far as, like, you know, especially in the past where it wasn't accepted or, like, publicly accepted, and there is frowned upon from, you know, a majority of people. And I believe that, like, all the, you know, and there was really no help for them, or they just felt like outcast and, you know, being picked on and bullied and,
But that's
you know,
not
hated on.
for today, though. I mean,
It's not for today, but
it's been a long time that they've been accepted.
Yeah, and I think it's, like, I think it's better than it was, but I don't think it's near, you know, like, I still think they are marginalized against for sure, even just being, you know, like, religious, like, you know,
Yeah.
you have nothing wrong with them, but but you're still excluding them from
Actually,
your religion.
I don't. I don't feel that someone that is a homosexual or someone that's a habitual liar or someone that's got drug issues or anything that they're struggling with in the sense that would be out of alignment with Scripture is any different. You know, I think my objective, and that's probably the way I got saved, though I think that's the biggest thing, is I remember when I got saved, I would say my moral structure was very loose at the best. I drank a lot. I was very aggressive, and I remember driving to church. Teresa and I, when we drove to church the first time, I said, "This God's real. I'm not changing anything." You know, and that's why when I believe that you come to Christ, just create a relationship with Him, and then let's see what happens. You know, if you're if you're struggling with homosexuality and you come to Christ, and that's between them and God, how that works out. I can take the scriptures and say this is the life that we're supposed to live, and I believe that if God's the one that made us, He's the one that understands how we should operate best. And He's given us the guidance to say this is the way you should live your life, and if you live this way, then you'll have a better life for that. So that's the way I view it there. So let's move on to my next question then. So and I know you work outdoor recreational, so I'm not gonna, when we say Sunday service, I'm not gonna say Sunday service, because you live in Utah, you could find probably a church that has some type of service every day of the week. You know what I mean? It may not be a traditional service where you're going to Sunday church. It might be a home group. We have a family in our church that's all they do. They have one day off a week, both of them together, and they choose to spend that time together. So they participate in Bible study. I kind of believe that there is a difference between a Bible study and a Sunday service, because a Sunday service is made to worship, where Bible study is made to teach and learn. So I think your relationship can grow better on a Sunday service. But why is it that you would say, and now it's more of a general question, we'll be directly towards you, so you can, based on who you are as a person and your feelings, but in your community, I would say there's probably a lot of people that do not participate in any type of religious services on a regular basis, just because of the community itself and their guys' job. But there is a opportunity to do that, I would say. So what is it about the services or gathering that you would say that you don't do that?
Yeah, there's a few different reasons. I think part of it has to do, like, if not a big chunk of it has to do with, I feel like, not all people, but I feel like there's a majority of people who go to Christ and find Christ and become religious because they don't like where they are in their lives at that point in time. They're kind of searching for something to, like, improve themselves, and something to, like, a community to be a part of, and something to believe in, and answers. And religion gives you that. It gives you, like, a sense of purpose and a community, and a higher, hope and a higher purpose. And things might be kind of crummy now, but, like, once you pass away, you're gonna go to heaven and everything's hunky dory. But and it gives you,
Peaches and cream.
Peaches and cream. But yeah. So, like, but I think it gives them, like, they don't like where they're at now, and then it gives them a chance that, it betters themselves, and they become a part of a community, and everything's great, things good. I think that has to be a big part of it. And, like, I think that's, part of maybe the reason why I haven't gone back to church, is because I'm really happy where I'm at now, and it's like I'm not in search of, like, something to, like, hold on to or be part of a community. And I think, part of it, at least for me, is selfish. Like, I want to work outside, and then on my days off, I want to go play outside.
Right.
And that usually that lends towards traveling. So, like, if I'm working at the ski resort, I'm skiing all week, and then on my days off, I have 2 days off. And if I spend one of those days at church, then that's one day that's gone. I only have 1 day left. And to, like, travel, and I'm not going to go travel down to Moab for a day trip that's 5 hours away.
Right. So what would you say, because I believe that is a major issue with people that you can participate in any time. Just to remind you, got 10 minutes, you can at least say a couple words. I think that's one of the issues that people have, just like the family I told you about. They got 1 day off a week, and it's on Sunday, and they don't particularly want to go to church. You say, well, church is only a couple hours a week, out of your week, but this is my week that I'm free. This is the day that I'm free.
Yeah.
And and it's not just a couple hours, and I know that that's what pastors say. Hey, look, it's only an hour and a half of your time. No, because church starts at 10. That means I can't do anything from morning until 10. And then we go from 10 to 11. Let's say it's only an hour, and then we leave at 11, and then I've got to drive home. So I've really taken up from all morning to noon. Right? That's the way they view it, and I think that's a fair assessment. And then after that point, I can't really go anywhere. I can't do anything. So I guess I definitely can relate and understand to that. I mean, there's times, where even as a pastor, I feel that way, because this is what I do as well. And it's not just I don't go to church, but I feel, Teresa is this teacher, so she works 5 days a week. So And when they get holidays, it's on Monday, so it's not like if it's Friday, then you get a Friday, Saturday, and have a weekend off. But
Yeah.
we don't, so it is difficult. But that's I guess it's a sacrifice that some are willing to make and some are not. So but definitely, I think that's a major area. What do you say there, Ron? Don't you think that's an obstacle for people?
I think it's always been an obstacle for
Yeah.
people. I don't think that's a new thing. I
Right.
think that's always been an obstacle.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, because I think that one of the things our culture and is really struggling with is, what is the basis for truth?
Right.
Where does truth come from? And this has always been, go all the way back to Plato and Socrates. What is the basis of truth? What makes reality? So there has always been this struggle between either believing that there's something external, apart from myself, that defines reality and what is true, or it is something internal that I decide for myself.
Right.
And there's always been that human tension between believing that there's something apart from myself that defines reality and what is true, and that's objective, and that's never changing, versus a reality and a truth that is internal and is subject to my experience, and therefore what your truth is your truth, what your truth is my truth.
Right.
And they may not intersect at any place, and where they do intersect, we get along really well. Where they don't intersect, we become very tribal in our culture and our society. And so, I think the question that you're wrestling with, and I think a lot of people wrestle with, is where does truth come from? Where is the substance of what I rest my life on? And particularly in our scientific culture, truth is supposed to be something that we can measure, that we can touch, we can feel. But when it comes to these, here's a big word, epistemology kind of things, right? These things that are more philosophical and spiritual,
But you can't feel, you can't touch.
we can't feel, we can't touch, we can't measure, then what is going to be the basis of truth?
Right.
And for the Christian faith, I think, it's not just scriptures.
Right.
We
It's
use
not.
scriptures, that's the point of the show, looking
Yeah.
for the evidence.
Right.
But the turning point for the Christian becomes the resurrection of Jesus.
Right.
That's what the Apostle Paul points out in Romans and Corinthians particularly, right? Because if Christ is not raised from the dead, we are of most people the most miserable. Because
Yes.
we've lived our whole life for a lie
Yes.
that has no substance of truth to it. So, just a quick question then, to wrap up our show. What do you do with the truth claims of Christ and his claim, or the claims made about him, about his death and resurrection and glorification?
So you're asking, like, do I believe that Christ really, like, rose from the dead? And
Yeah,
And
yeah.
is
What
that
do
something
you
I
do with
believe?
those? Yeah, what do you do with those claims
Those
that are
claims.
made that he makes about himself, and then others after him
Mhm.
make about him?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've thought about a lot, especially with the conversations with you about, because, you obviously went to school and you've done a lot of research on this, and I've, just coming from the little knowledge that I've had and going to church and growing up. And at this point, like, I don't think, I don't know if I necessarily believe in all of that. And, for one reason is it was obviously a long, long, long time ago. And,
So length of time
I think
creates less truth.
I don't think it creates less truth, but I think that, like, over time, things do, like the telephone game, right? Things do definitely get distorted and turned and twisted, and I'm not saying it's like a bad thing or, but like none of us were there when this happened, and
Right.
I think it's like something in my life that I haven't found to be a fact. Like, it's not something like, oh, okay, this is the hard evidence for me to fully believe that.
Right.
I'm sure, yeah, maybe it did happen, and like that's something that I haven't discovered yet, to like something to fully make me believe that this has happened. And at this point, like, yeah, it's in the Bible and it's a story in the Bible. And for me, I don't think it goes past that. I think it's yeah, I think it's just something I haven't, fully defined to be a fact. Yeah, and then, and it's hard because, like you said, like it's not something you can measure. It's not something you can
Right.
like test and like, okay, let's look at the video, surveillance evidence. And
Right.
let's watch him. Let's watch him walk out from
There you go, yeah.
from there. So it's
Yeah.
I think it's something that's more of like a deeper dive and like really doing my research and then coming to
Yeah.
a conclusion of like, okay, I do believe this or I don't.
Yeah, I want to, real quick, we can keep talking for Facebook and we'll do a few more minutes, but he's got an airplane to catch, so we won't be able to go too long. We are finished our show. We've actually gone over it, Bill, so you have to edit some of this, but especially keep the last part. And I want to thank Kobe for actually being brave enough to step up and come in here. I know that I told you I was going to be nice as your dad. I didn't know what Ron would do. I didn't know he was going to sit there. You had very good question at the end there, so that was good. But it took him a while to figure it out. I don't know.
I'm a slow processor.
So, hey, we want to thank everybody for listening. Godspeed and God bless. We'll continue on with the Facebook Live here. So, one of the questions, when because you've actually said this more than a few times, and where you haven't really dove in to do the research. You know what I mean? So really, your basis for your belief is just based off you and your personal experience. Which being in college, that's very limited. When you do any type of research, you can't just be the creator of it. And then, for me, I do have fear of self-truth. Because I've been to so many bad places in the world. When you see, like you and I, we have no power. Us three, we have power barely over my own dog half the time. So we have limited authority that we have. But when you get self-truth and these people get into powers of or positions of power, they become very evil. And I've seen it around the world, not just in isolated spots. We can see it today. I mean, even look at China. And they've got, 100 million people, I think, of their own people. I might be wrong about the exact number.
It's over 1 billion, yeah.
No, not the population of China. The people that they're Chinese, but they're a group of Chinese that they don't agree with and they like, right? And they've got them all.
Oh, the Uyghurs?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then they're now being punished and imprisoned and all these things, and that's just one of the countries. We can go on and on. Those are the things when I look at self-truth that I have concerns about, because anytime if you have a society based on self-truth, to me it seems like the cream that rises to the top is always bad, where that's where I do like America, at least currently, where we're governed by the people, but the with your self-truth, and then what Ron was talking about was, there's a lot of evidence actually out there. There's more evidence in an account of Jesus' resurrection outside of scriptures. It's not just isolated to the Bible. It's other writings that people witness this. They're in Roman scripture or Roman writings and other writings in that region that seen Jesus. I guess my final question to you then, Kobe, would be is when we do have, is it, well, I don't want to answer the question yourself. I just kind of dawned on me because you kind of did answer it already earlier. Why is it that you don't do your own research on any of the things?
I mean, I'm human, right? Like,
You are?
yeah.
Serious?
So there's like, like I do, like, I mean, in talking to you, I talk to you all the time when I come here. I always ask you
Right.
questions, and like for me, that's like a lot of my research and like just like kind of thinking and pondering about things, and but yeah, I think like there's areas in everyone's lives that they just don't pay attention to, whether it's health or or the news or politics, where there's something that's always just like you can't pay attention to everything, you can't research everything in your life
Right.
that you're interested in or that you like want to do. And that's one of the things, like I did a lot of it, or not someone say a lot of it, but I participated in a lot of it growing up, and and some into the college, and like I said, I just realized that I was just blindly following something that I didn't fully understand or fully believe in, and didn't have all the information that I wanted to have to commit my whole life to it. So yeah, I think, and now I'm in a time in my life where I'm enjoying where I'm at, and I'm skiing and climbing and doing all these things, and I just haven't committed the time to really fully understand and like make up my mind. And you know, I'm still like, you know, obviously there's Christianity, but there's also a lot of other religions out there in the world. And you know, like one of my good friends, he's, you know, I would say, I guess, Buddhist. You know, the whole idea of enlightenment, and he's really into that. And so I'm like, I always ask him questions about that, just to, you know, I guess, to get a broader view on things and what his opinions are. And doesn't necessarily I believe in what he believes in. It's just like just another way to like kind of see what's out there and what other people believe. And usually, you know, when I come across someone who believes something that's different, or another religion, I answer the same exact questions. You know, just kind of like what they believe in, and what it's all about, and what they think about this and what they think about that.
Now, if they had pizza in heaven, would you go?
I'm sure they have pizza in heaven.
Vegetarian.
If pizza, yeah, if
There's
heaven
a heaven, there's
exists,
gonna be pizza.
yeah, if heaven exists, there's definitely gonna be pizza.
Okay, hey, we want to thank you, everybody, for listening. We're going to sign off. God bless, Godspeed.
Lord bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And.
You sound like a speaker for a while. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. That was quick.